Hi friends, I'm Stephanie and I've been living in a Tesla with my pets for nearly 3 years. This is my kitty Finley and this is his brother Snow. When I started posting here on YouTube, I thought I was going to do weekly vlogs, but honestly it has been about 10 months of not knowing quite what I want to post. For those who don't know our story, I actually received the Tesla for free in a breakup, which is a whole other story in itself, but I loved the car and I thought I would keep it a lot longer. My plan has always been to buy a van eventually, but the Tesla ended up being a great tiny home, especially because I could run the climate control full time, and I had the 360-degree cameras, which made me feel really secure. But as we all know, nothing good can last forever, and so around the time that I posted my last vlog, I started to have some concerns about the company itself. Musk has never been my favorite person, but for a long time I believed that he did really want to help and progress humanity. But at this point, I'm not sure that that is still the case. Every time I post videos about living in my Tesla, I bring in Tesla sales, which I used to earn referral credits for, and that was really cool when I did stand behind the company, but at this point, I just don't think I can continue to do that. I was kind of feeling like I would either have to disclose my views in every video I posted, or maybe take a little break while I figured out what to do next. I really want to post positive content, so being harsh on a brand isn't something that felt good to me, and I decided taking a little break would be better. So let me show you what we've been up to the last few months, and then I will tell you all about what we're doing next. Back in October, our tiny Tesla home got a huge upgrade, and we put in one of these Fruble shelves. Our friend Jimmy is the great mind behind these products, and it has been so fun to watch him change them and upgrade them over the years. He's got a few styles available now, multiple for Teslas and some for Rivians as well. He's offered me my own Fruble shelf a few times now, but I've been turning him down for quite a while because I was worried about losing the headroom in the Tesla. We already don't have a ton of space and I can't even sit up in bed. So knowing that I was going to lose about 6 more inches wasn't something I was super excited about, but honestly, it ended up being such a game changer, I kind of wish I'd done it earlier. I've never really had a dedicated cooking space in the Tesla, which means that every time I decide to cook a meal, I have to drag all of my cooking stuff out of the car, set it up somewhere, and hope it doesn't start pouring rain on me. Which, like anything, was fun for a little while, but got kind of annoying, especially during the winter months. I found myself just not cooking much at all. And you know, for something that I live in full time, that isn't always the best. I ended up eating a lot of takeout and cold foods instead, which is fun sometimes, but I did miss cooking. Adding the Fruble shelf took a lot of the pain out of cooking for me because I opened the back hatch to access it, which means that I have a little roof over my head in case it's raining or snowing. It also added some storage space, and with this huge drawer up front, I have enough space to store my spices, a lot of my ingredients, cooking supplies, and even my little stovetop. There is just something so comforting about being able to cook a hot meal on a cold day, and being able to have some of my favorites again, like this red lentil curry. I have been missing it way more than I realized. Doing my grocery shopping and cleanup once I was finished cooking were also both a lot easier because I could keep all of my groceries and cleaning supplies right in the Fruble shelf, so it was all in one place instead of me having to run around the car and collect everything. This model is the Camper Kit Lite, built specifically for Tesla Model Ys, but there are a few versions available for other Teslas and also Rivians now. If it sounds like it would be a big upgrade for your camping setup as well, check out the Fruble website and use code Stephanie for $150 off of your order. If you do decide to pick one up, I would love to see a picture of your setup with it. Thanks again for setting us up with this Fruble shelf, Jimmy. It has been amazing and we truly have loved it.
Good boy, Finn.
In December, I decided to take the Tesla on what would end up being her very last road trip with us, and we went all the way back to where it all started, Las Vegas. My ex and I lived down here for a couple of years, and it was never really my spot, but it was really nice to come back and hit some of our favorite camping spots again. It also felt like a very full circle moment because this is where I started camping in the Tesla. It's really wild to think about how far we've come since then. I have figured out where to fill my water, where to shower, and even the basics like how to charge the car, which sounds silly now, but at the beginning it was a huge deal. Frankly, I don't agree with what's going on in the States right now, so we made sure that we were out by Inauguration Day after seeing all of our friends in the States, and then we headed right back home to Canada so that we could enjoy what was left of the winter season here. We spend a lot of our time on the West Coast where the winters are pretty mild, so seeing snow like this was really exciting, and obviously Snow Dog was equally excited about it. Once we were back home, I also started to think a lot more about what we were going to do with the Tesla and what our next steps would be, and I just sat in uncertainty for probably 2 weeks. This was a huge decision with so much coming into play because I have been living almost for free the last few years between free charging and not having a car payment. And like I said, the features like climate control and the cameras have been keeping us so safe that it was really hard to say goodbye to them. Sometimes she does this, she just needs a little reboot. The window is down. I actually can roll up and down the windows and drive still when this happens. I just don't like to do it. I like to pull over and make sure she's doing all right. Both fortunately and unfortunately, our Tesla Roxanne started having some issues on one of those trips and made it clear that selling was probably the right answer. So I am currently charging Roxanne, probably for the last time ever. I have been kind of thinking about a van for like 5 years now, probably longer. And I knew that that was always like the end game, but I kind of thought that I would keep Roxanne for longer and try to drive her into the ground if I could. Unfortunately, with all the stuff going on with Tesla, I just can't do it. I can't keep posting my adventures in her, knowing that other people are going to buy them because of me. I don't really feel good about it. I feel a little sick about it. So I think it's time. I think it's time for more space. I think it's time not to be so attached to a computer in the car. Like, that is something that's been on my mind a lot lately. And it's going to be a big change. It's going to be a really big change. I don't do well with change. But I have slept in the new van for the last 3 nights, and I have 2 more before I officially buy her, just because of the like selling the Tesla process, which has been a nightmare, by the way. And I don't know, I was feeling very like, I think part of the problem is that I'm sleeping in the van, but I'm still driving Roxanne. And every time I get into her, I just feel like I'm betraying her. I feel like I'm cheating on my best friend. Really sad, but I do also want more space. And she is obviously the size she is. She can't grow. So it is what it is. This is going to be a good thing. We have a rainbow. The universe says it's a good thing. I very much believe in rainbows. I believe they pop up when you are on the right track. And this one's sitting right in front of me right now. But this is big. This is a really big, like, I know I'm smiling currently. Like, this is, I've had a lot of feelings, honestly. But it's gonna be good. Big, but good. Once I decided firmly that I was going to sell, I cleaned everything out and moved it into what I thought would be our next van. And then I also played what felt like a horrible chess game trying to get the Tesla ready to sell and also finding a buyer. She was registered in Alberta, but I was selling in BC, so she needed an out-of-province inspection and a windshield replacement. And then I had a ton of trouble finding a dealership that would buy a Tesla after Elon's actions lately. I noticed something when I drove it to my friend's house. Let me show you what that was. Do for scale. Okay, ready? Let's do this again. Oh, shit, brother. Yeah. So that's a hole. Oh, okay. The whole floor is probably rusted out, I think. Awesome. It is also rusted out, but the carpet only comes to about here, so that's all we can see for sure. I have been troubleshooting this for like 2 days, trying to figure out if I still buy this van, like, is it fixable and for how much? Like, everything is fixable. It's just like, how much do you want to spend fixing it, right? The answer is nobody thinks that this van is going to be solid at all, because that's potentially the whole floor and maybe the walls. And when I cleaned the windshield off just now, there was a bunch of sitting water up there too. So I don't know what's going on with this, but I think I'm gonna bail on it. I did give her a deposit so she can keep that, because I've been sleeping in here for a few days while I figured out stuff with the Tesla. And I just can't get over how glad I am that I drove this down the highway because I couldn't feel the breeze as much when we were like going through the residential area. And I think coming from the Tesla too, like I'm just not used to vehicles anymore, so I totally missed it. That trip saved me. When I started looking at the van, it was parked in a residential area where the neighbors are not super van life friendly, so I ended up having to move the van to make them happy, and I took it to my friend's house across town, which included a highway drive, and that's where I noticed the hole in the floor. So we ended up staying at my friend's house. He has an old RV that we just crashed in for probably a month, which frankly I am beyond grateful for because I don't know what my plan B would have been here. But it did send me on a whole new van hunt. So we spent the next few weeks scouring Facebook Marketplace. I don't think I've ever spent so long on that website, and just hanging out in the neighborhood. It was really weird not to have a car, but the universe was giving us all of these rainbows, the flowers were blooming, and I had a really good feeling that it was all going to work out just fine. I ended up touring 5 or 6 other vans and did pre-sale inspections on 3 of them, but for full-time living especially, none of them really seemed solid enough to be worth a gamble. I was starting to get frustrated, so one night I asked the universe to send me a sign, and the next morning a marketplace listing popped up that I could not ignore, so I decided to load up a U-Haul, and then we drove 9 hours and took 2 ferries to go and see it. I worried the whole drive there that this was going to be a mistake, but as soon as I pulled up, I felt really good about it. She is almost the same red as Roxanne was, and believe it or not, the sellers had even named her Rox Van. So I don't know how much more of a sign I could have been sent. This feels absolutely perfect. She's a 2006 Dodge Sprinter, and I almost bought one of these a few years ago, but I chickened out, and I have been kicking myself over that decision ever since.
Wow, what a good boy, Finn!
After driving a Tesla for so long, I was kind of worried about driving something older like this, but I'm actually loving it, and so are the boys. The van needs some pretty extensive renovations before we move in, so we haven't done that quite yet, but I am living with my aunt and uncle for the summer so that we can work on the build, and my uncle is going to help me out with that a ton, which I am so grateful for. I've started calling him the project manager because frankly, I do not have the experience to take this on by myself yet. I'm so excited to take you on these new adventures with us, and even more excited to see what the van turns into. We will have some snags along the way, but stay tuned because I will take you along for the whole ride. Thanks for watching, and make sure you subscribe so you can catch our next adventure. We'll see you soon.